Hey, good morning, and welcome to this week's EZAG podcast, the number one source of information to help you farm differently. Before we start into today's topic, I have to tell you once again to be sure to register and tune in during September for the virtual field day. Each week in September, we will be delivering you a video message featuring Dr. Tom Field from the University of Nebraska. I had the opportunity yesterday to spend time working with Tom to record these episodes. Each topic is extremely applicable to today's environment in the agriculture industry and to each and every one of our operations. Be sure to text EZAG to the short code 474-747 or visit redbarn.ag to register today. You won't want to miss it. Now on to the number one question farmers ask. Hey, how's it going? Ha! Just kidding. While this may be true, the actual question we will be covering in today's podcast is, what population should I plant? In my opinion, on the Dryland acre, the bare minimum is 13,000. And I believe it is with good reason. Why, you might ask? The formula for evapotranspiration accounts for evaporation from the soil surface and transpiration from the leaves of the corn plant. Let's talk about leaf area index, meaning the number of square inches of leaf surface in relationship to the number of square inches of soil surface. At a leaf area index below 2.7, meaning there is less than 2.7 square inches of leaves per inch of soil, evaporation from the soil surface is greater than the amount of water transpired through the plant. In population terms, it takes around a 13,000 stand of corn to achieve LAI of 2.7. Anything below that is allowing more water to evaporate from the soil than be transpired through the plant. And efficient transpiration is much more efficient at producing yield than evaporation. You could easily argue for higher populations based off of the purity and germination of the seed you are planting. My general recommendation is 15,000 per acre, which gives us room to account for seed quality, environmental issues, and operator or equipment error. For the irrigated populations, it gets a bit trickier. And let's be honest, in almost every irrigation scenario, we are already growing a limited irrigated crop, regardless of whether it's our best water or not. So let's look at the calculations that it takes to estimate the optimum population in an irrigated environment. First, a couple of assumptions we have to make in these calculations. Number one, a full profile of soil moisture available to the plant prior to planting of 8 inches. And number two, in-season rainfall, meaning from planting to maturity on that corn crop, of 10 inches. Then we must calculate the in-season amount of available water from irrigation. To do this, take the gallons per minute capacity of your irrigation well and multiply it by 5.56. Then divide it by the number of acres you are irrigating with that well. This will yield you the number of inches per acre you could pump on your corn crop if you irrigated for 105 days or 3.5 months between the planting and harvest dates on your crop. So for example, a 200 gallon per minute well on a 122 acre circle would yield 9.1 inches in season irrigation, whereas a 300 gallon per minute well on the same circle would yield 13.6 in season irrigation. Now total all available water for this example, I'm going to use the 200 gallon per minute well at 9.1, plus the 8 inches plant available soil moisture, plus the 10 inches of estimated in-season rainfall, for a total of 27.1 inches available. We know that a corn crop uses basically 10 inches to reach tasseling, so we have 17.1 inches left to make grain. Corn is capable of producing 10 to 15 bushels of grain per inch of available moisture above the 10 inches required to reach tasseling. Using a factor of 12 bushels per inch, the 17.1 yields us roughly 205 bushels of corn. Now that we have established a realistic yield goal from our irrigation system, we can work backwards to calculate our population. We know that corn planted at populations greater than 26,000 has the ability to yield 8 to 10 bushels per thousand plants, and that at 20 or below, that increases to 10 to 12 bushels per thousand plants. So taking the yield goal of 205 divided by 9 would likely give us a good population recommendation at 22,750. Just like in the dryland population, this recommendation leaves us some room for seed quality, environmental issues, and equipment or operator error, and still leaves some room for upside yield potential in the case of a wet year. To err on the conservative side though, or in the case of a hybrid with exceptional ear flex, use a higher bushels per thousand plant divider of 10 to 12 in your final calculation, and you will end up planting 17 to 20,500. That's all for today. Thanks for tuning in to this week's EZAG podcast. I'm Matt Long, helping you farm differently, providing information you can't get anywhere else.